Rosie here at Just Chill Baby Sleep. Today I'm talking about travelling with your baby or your child, which can be a daunting prospect, especially if you've not done it before, but I promise you it's worth it, and you can always do all the travelling that you enjoy with your children in tow. So, a few things. Number one most important thing is preparation. So make sure you're prepared for where you're going. Find out everything about the place that you're going to and the facilities there. Find out if they're going to provide a travel cot for you, if they have high chairs, if they have sterilising equipment, all of those kind of things. It's also worth finding out in the local area if they're going to be stocking things like nappies, wipes and formula. If they do, then that saves you packing a load of stuff. You're obviously going to need to pack enough for your journey and a little bit just in case, but it's good to check that out locally. Always take a stroller with you, obviously, or a buggy if your child's of the age that they need it. I tend to pack a lightweight stroller rather than a full pram, mainly because they can get damaged in transit, and if it's quite an expensive pram that you use every day, if you get a stroller that reclines, you will find that should do you for holiday. Sterilising, if you're bottle feeding, I used to always take Milton tablets, so sterilising tablets, and a large Tupperware. You don't need a fancy steriliser, you just fill it with water, put the Milton tablet in, and that will sterilise your bottle and your feeding equipment. The best thing for babies on holiday is a sling. So we used to actually have two. We had a baby Bjorn, which suited Dan. He found, for some reason, that much more comfortable than the Ergo Baby, which is what I used. The good thing about slings is when you're in the airport, they will let you take your stroller or your pram to the gate, but obviously getting on the plane, you're not going to have it. So putting baby in the sling is really useful. If baby's fractious on the plane, it's brilliant because you can just put them in, walk up and down, sway side to side. They might even fall asleep in the sling, in which case you can just sit down, you've got your hands free. Whereas if you're holding them, your poor arm's going to go dead on that plane and you're not going to be able to move around. Also useful for when you're on holiday, things like going out for meals and things, you can always put them in the sling, and they can tend to be a bit more comfortable if they're next to you, and certainly the smaller the baby, the longer and the more they like in the sling, really. In terms of the actual journey, if you have a smaller baby, and especially if you're travelling long haul, you should be able to get a bassinet for them to sleep in on the plane. So do speak to your airline in advance and ask to book a bassinet if possible, because sometimes they only have limited numbers of those. If you are booking your seats on the plane, I would always go for an aisle seat. The reason is that you often need to get up with a baby, and I don't like to be stuck in the middle or in the window seat, because that way you kind of move around and feel a bit freer. If the plane's not full, it's always worth asking the cabin crew if there is a spare seat somewhere. If there is, you might be able to move somewhere and have two seats. This is especially useful if you've got a toddler that's not yet two, so you're not paying for their seat. But if you can get an extra one that they can sit in, it really makes the world of difference. For older children and toddlers, my rules on screen time go out of the window when you're travelling. When you're on that plane, they can watch the iPad as much as they want, and it's a really useful tool. It's a long time potentially to expect a small child or a toddler to sit still for, so that's where screen time can be really useful. Let them watch movies, let them play games. You can potentially download some material in advance, like CBeebies kind of material, and some educational games. Other than that, snacks are brilliant for babies of eating age and children and adults as well. So pack some friendly snacks that you know they're going to like. You can pick up some other snacks at the airport that they might not normally have potentially. Let them choose some things if they're toddlers, and that makes it a bit exciting. I often, for little ones, will do aeroplane toys. So I will go to a cheapy shop, buy a few things, and wrap them up in wrapping paper and take out a bag on the plane, and then the girls can unwrap the presents, and this actually uses up quite a bit of time, and it's the novelty of having something different, then they'll play with those toys on holiday as well, and it's just a nice thing to add to the holiday, but uses up some time on the plane. Perhaps reserve them for the time when your child starts getting fractious, and that's when you bring out the toys. Also, don't worry about other people on the plane. Your child might cry, and that's normal. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong, and don't let yourself feel too conscious of other passengers. Obviously, if your child's kicking someone's seat, you're going to tell them to stop doing that. But if you have a small baby who's upset and overtired and crying, they're just going to have to deal with it. If your child is on a strict nap schedule and you're flying and you're keen to stick to it, I would actually let it go out of the window when you're on the plane. If they want to sleep when you're flying, make your life easy and let them sleep. You can always return to routine when you arrive at your destination, or alternatively, let it go out the window and return to it when you get home. Depending how young your baby is, you might not be able to fly with them. Some airlines say they have to be over a month old. Some of them it's like 2 days. Most doctors recommend letting their immune system develop a little bit before you fly, so at least a month old, possibly even 3 months if you're doing vaccinations. If you're flying long haul with babies, they are going to get a bit of jet lag, a bit like we do. We all have internal body clocks, and it's a bit confusing and you feel a bit funny if you go to a different time zone. So don't be surprised if baby doesn't respond really quickly. It can take a few days at least. Lots of exposure to natural light is really, really helpful. Get them out, get some fresh air. If you've got older children, get them some exercise, get them running around outside as soon as you get there. When it is night time, if they're awake and you kind of want them to be asleep and adjust to the new time, don't ignore them and expect them to go straight to sleep, but keep things quiet, keep the lights low, and maybe some really quiet activities, maybe sing some really quiet sort of lullabies and things to them, and they will adjust. Eating at local time is really, really key. So one of the key influences of our internal body clock is the time that we eat. So when you arrive at a destination, you might feel a bit funny and you might not feel like eating, but if you try and eat at the meal times, or even offer something to your baby at meal times at local time, then the body clock will start to adjust to when they're eating. I hope that's helpful. When you are on holiday, I want you to enjoy your holiday. Be a little bit flexible. You can stick to your baby's nap schedule. Let them nap in the pram. Take them out at night in the pram so you can have a meal. All you need to do is make sure, if you want to stick to a bedtime routine, do that bedtime routine in your apartment or in your hotel, and then put them in the buggy as if it's bedtime, and then hopefully they will go off. If they don't, keep them up a little bit. It's not the end of the world. If you do want to stick to a strict bedtime routine, then be organised. Make sure that there's either a babysitting service, or you're staying in an apartment or a villa so you can put them to bed and then enjoy your evening at home. Ultimately, holidays are for fun. If you want to be adventurous, you want to go off the beaten track, you can do it. You just need to be organised. There are babies in every country in the world, so they can survive there. It's just whether we're prepared with all the things that we normally have supporting us. The main thing is that your baby is clean, your baby is fed, and your baby is happy. And all of those things, once they're in place, everything else is an extra. Most places you'll go, there's shops and there's things to buy, so even if you've forgotten something, you'll probably be able to find it, unless you're going to somewhere really remote, in which case you do need to be super, super organised. I hope that's helpful. Enjoy your holiday. Have a look at my Amazon list. My Amazon shop has a section on travelling with baby with loads of useful products. And comment if you've got any questions, and remember to subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.